All right. We'll see how many people are here this morning on a holiday morning. We do have the my little audience, Louis. All right. That's Eric's dog. Louis shaking up not a little bit. He is not a big fan of the fireworks. I'm with Louis. I don't know if it's, I spent a decade in minor league baseball and you get the same 12 to 15 minute firework display. I'm over it. Been over it for a long time. Now, the difference between that and what we have is an amateur firework display. But I'm telling you, the fireworks are right next to you. So they are really loud. Like our house is next to the one house who's shooting them off, and they are extremely loud. So everything, my mother was over it. My nephew's never really liked fireworks, but handles it much better now. Louis did not handle it well at all. We thought about leaving him here at home, which is not good for us because we love playing with him during the day. But it was, I've never seen a dog pout. And he pouted last night. Almost like, how dare you bring me to the fireworks when you know exactly what it was going to do to me? I mean, they've tried pills and everything like that, but it doesn't work. They tried music. They tried taking him for a walk when we got home, and someone shot off a firework, right? So Schultzapalooza 24, complete success. We had 50 to 60 people there. The dinosaur barbecue catered everything. And, it does come down to, when it's 15 to 20 people. And I feel like the cousins come more now. Like for the last 10 years or so, the cousins from around the country come. It used to be not that way. I don't know if we've gotten older or the kids are easier to travel with. But again, we had people come in from Chicago, San Francisco, I think, New York City. That's not that far, but from all over. And, it used to be like 15 to 20 people, maybe. And so grilling for that, it's hot dogs and hamburgers, maybe not that difficult. But then it started to include friends. And then all the cousins came, and then their kids came, and friends came, and it like 50 people there yesterday. That's a lot, 50 to 60 people there yesterday, including a good friend of mine, two good friends of mine. College roommate was there, and a childhood friend was there. So it's a lot of work. And the other thing is that my generation, although not me, can afford to pay someone to cater it. And I mean, just the barbecue was delicious. The ribs, the meat fell off the bone, and we have plenty left. Although we have a celebration today up here, like they're coming up here to Hotel Syracuse, so it's a catered dinner, and then everybody else is leaving. Eric is leaving today. He's heading back down to DC today. He'll come back get the dog, and then Seth is leaving tomorrow morning. I'm not leaving until Saturday morning, so we'll probably go back down to the lake and have some more barbecue. All right, so the big news yesterday, and thanks for getting up. I think there's like 17 people up really early on a July 4th. That's great. So Brian Maggard was announced yesterday that he is going to be on the Division I Football Oversight Committee. So we'll just read the press release. It's not that long. Louisiana Vice President for Intercollegiate Athletics, Dr. Brian Maggard, has been appointed to the NCAA Division I Football Bowl Subdivision Oversight Committee. Maggard's term began July 1st and runs through June 30th, 2028, so 4 years. He will serve as the Sun Belt Conference representative on the committee. Currently in his 8th year with Louisiana, Maggard joins 16 other members on the football subdivision segment of the committee. The Football Oversight Committee comprised of representatives from each divisional subgroup that sponsors football, works in conjunction with appropriate governance entities to provide solutions to issues impacting the health and safety of football student athletes. Right? The committee maintains appropriate oversight of football for both the football subdivision and the football championship subdivision. I've never understood that. Why? So the football bowl subdivision, which is FBS, and the football championship subdivision, FCS. So Division One, Division One, AA, and enhances development of the sport by advancing recommendations related to the regular season and postseason football. The committee prioritizes enhancements of the student-athlete educational experience, academically and athletically, although one could put in financially, promoting student-athletes' personal growth and leadership development. The committee also supervises procedures for licensing of postseason bowls and qualifications and or other procedures for the FCS championship. It also provides direction to the NCAA rules committee regarding playing rules governing FBS and FCS football. Okay. So the big one to me, when do we go to 16? And I think that's where you end it. When we go to 16, right? We haven't even played 12 and we're going to 14 already in the playoff for football. I also happen to think, based on what happens this year, we're going to get 2 rounds of games on home stadiums. I think it's too much to ask for college football fans. It may be too much to ask for college football fans to travel twice. College basketball fans do, but a lot of those arenas are much smaller, and you have multiple teams. Right? If you're not playing in a dome in the first or second round, even if you're playing here in Syracuse, and you're looking to fill up 30 to 35,000, if you do a first round and second round, you have 8 teams, and if you're in a regional, you have 4 teams. So now the way the playoff is set up this year, the second round games, if you will, are played at the bowl games. The first round games, are played at home sites, which means, and the first 4 teams are getting all buys, so they won't get a home game, right? The whole idea for me, and I think they're going to ruin it because you don't want to be too cold, which I understand. And you don't want to be freezing. You don't want it to be a miserable experience. But the Big Ten will probably put their game in a dome, which I'm terrified of. Because the idea is to see Alabama play Michigan in the weather, right? In the conditions. We want to see Ole Miss play Ohio State. Let's see them play in the snow, right? It can be cold in December. I don't know if it's brutally freezing. I guess last year's Kansas City game was bad, right? That was in January. Was that the Dolphins having to play in Kansas City? And you don't want to be dangerously cold, right? You don't want to be dangerously cold for the players, and you don't want to be dangerously cold for the fans. But that's the idea, is to have these games the way I see it. And I've always thought this on the playoffs, that at least the first 2 rounds, and this was a 16-team playoff, the first 2 rounds are going to be at home. So, yeah, maybe Alabama does get a couple of home games. LSU does get a couple of home games. You're playing 4 games. If you have a 16-team tournament, that's right, 4 games, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2. So I'm a big believer in having them home games. The semifinals could be on the road in a bowl atmosphere type deal, and obviously the championship game will be preset. But I think eventually, and maybe even next year, where the first 4 teams, if they're playing, I'm not even sure how that's set up because it's 14, they'll have home games because they will see how successful those home games are. And it's really tough. I've been a little bit fortunate, doing travel now, but you try to do travel around the holidays. Let me see when they are. Let's see here. 2024 college football, because they already announced them and everything, right? College football playoff schedule. Okay. So they do have this NCAA. Okay. Okay, so the quarterfinals are the Fiesta Bowl, Peach Bowl, Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl. All right. 2024 semifinals are the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl. They already have the quarterfinals set for 25 and 26. We'll see if that changes. I have a feeling it may change. And here are the schedules already out. So the first round, which the first four teams get by, December 20th and 21st. Then I don't know how you're doing this. You're doing Fiesta Bowl quarterfinals December 31st. Peach, Rose, Sugar quarterfinals to January 1st. So you're already going to have coaches complaining about somebody getting an extra day. Orange Bowl semifinals on the 9th. Cotton Bowl semifinals on the 10th. And National Championship January 20th. All right, let me see where it's at. NFL schedule, because we're kind of going up against that, right? NFL playoff schedule 2024. Let me see here. Well, no. All right, so let's see what we'll do last year's. See what the brackets are last year. So the conference championships were the 28th. So the divisional round of the playoffs was 20 and 21 last year. So that's the divisional round of the playoffs. The whole idea of moving that college football thing to like in between, that has really drawn it out. I mean, somewhere along the way, it is amazing. And I'm all for the playoff. But we're really not cutting back on the games. All of a sudden, these college kids are playing 17 games, playing 12. Now, some of these teams in the playoff are not going to be playing in the conference championship, but still that's 13. If you play in the conference championship, are you in the top 4? So that would be 16 if you get it all the way through. But somehow if you play in the conference championship and lose, you may not make the first 4 bye. So you may play 17 games. That's a lot. That's long. You're playing from Labor Day, September, October, November, December, January. That's a lot. That's a lot, right? It feels like it's 3.5 months now. It's 3.5 months now, basically, right? It ends Thanksgiving, and then a conference championship game is the next, so it's 3 months. And then you may have a month off before you play again, right? If you're in the playoffs, you play at the end of December and then another time in January. And then you have plenty of time to recuperate. And the student athletes that they're talking about in that press release, get a chance to do some work. I mean, there's not a whole lot of time to recuperate and do your studying, so to speak. When you're let's see when the conference championship games are, right? So the conference championship games are going to be December 7th. So now the semifinals, somewhere along the way, there's finals in there. So it's 20th through the 21st. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, right? We criticize pro football. I do anyways, right? You can't sit there and tell me how important safety is and then tell me you want a 18th game. I'm not buying it. Why? What are the legitimate reasons we need a 17th and 18th game? And there really is only one reason. It's all money, right? The TV money that it brings in, sponsorships that it brings in. It's just all money, and it ain't going backwards. Once a tube is out of the toothpaste, right? I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if baseball went back to like 154 games. I would even think maybe 144 games, but everyone's precious records would go by the wayside, and you never get any home run chase or anything like that anymore. Although Aaron Judge is having quite the year. So, you can't put the tube back in the toothpaste. Whereas, what if we went back to an 11-game regular season schedule and then the conference, and now we're back to The most you could play is 16 games. 17's a lot. Like, what does FCS play? That was the whole idea, is get to FCS playoff, because I don't think they play as many games. Let's see here. 2023 official FCS bracket. So who won? Let's see here. South Dakota. What did they finish at? 23, and they beat Montana 23-3. South Dakota State played 15 games. All right. So South Dakota State played 15 games. You could get a national champion playing 16 or 17 games. That's a lot. I mean, 2 more games potentially, right? I mean, you can come up with it. Ole Miss and Georgia. If Georgia's undefeated and Ole Miss has a couple of losses, and Georgia beats Ole Miss in the SEC championship game, Ole Miss is still going to go to the playoff, but they're not going to get a first round bye. So they could play 3 games. They're already 10-2, 10-3. One, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Could have to play 4 games. 17 games is a lot. That's a lot. So it'll be interesting to study the whole effect of that, right? And then there's not a whole lot of time in between, right? And when's the championship? Championship's January 20th. You got which is about a week later now. I remember a couple of years ago, I think Alabama lost, and it didn't feel like Saban was home for 3 weeks until signing day. And then you're lucky if you have 2 months before spring starts. Now, maybe those schools, if you playing a national championship, will just, won't start until the end of March or beginning of April and do spring camp, then push it back. But I'm all for the playoff. I am. 16 teams, I think, is where you're going to have it. But it is a lot. Let's not make any mistake about it. It's a lot. I lost my studio audience. I don't know where the Louis went. Oh, well. It is, it is an early morning thing. And I'm going to give it up to my guy, Blake Ruffino, right? It was on my timeline last night, right? AYS Sports. Like 300 people sitting there listening to him on July 3rd at night about LSU recruiting, which, boy, baseball is taking some big hits. Football, I guess they're taking some hits, but I think Chip Kelly's doing a great job. We did have, what was that? Who said that? Was it Jim Schlossnagle said the same thing that Chip Kelly did? I think we went over that. Not Chip Kelly, Brian Kelly, sorry. I got West Coast family. Brian Kelly. When he didn't want that defensive tackle that ended up at OU, and we're not paying him $1 million because I got to take care of my tackles. I got to give him something before I give the new guy something. And, Schlossnagle said, I've been on the phone with kids who are only in it for the money. We're not going to take those kids, right? Knowing full well what today's situation is, you got to come up with some money, right? I did not see, speaking of that, another Cajun softball player commit, but it does feel like that is coming. The last post was Alana Johnson, the pretty good outfielder from Washington. It should mention Tara Archibald. She was an Eastern Illinois head coach, and it's Tara Archibald, or I guess it would be Tara Glasgow Archibald. That's her father. Spending 5 years as the head coach of Eastern Illinois. He led the Panthers to a 40-17 record in Ohio Valley Conference regular season title, being named Ohio Valley Conference Coach of the Year. So he is he's getting his daughter back. That's pretty cool. All right. That is very cool. All right. So So I haven't seen any. I mean, again, we're looking. Chloe's probably going to go back. Chloe's going to end up in Lubbock. Victoria Valdez is probably going to end up in Lubbock. We'll see who else. Again, if he turns this around in one season, that's going to be impressive. All right. I'm not going to miss that. But again, you hope that the girls are getting paid. That's my only, honestly, concern, that they are getting something. He was promised NIL money. He's going to promise the girls some NIL money, and hopefully they end up getting paid. It will not be difficult to find out if they are. All right. The key one for the Cajun softball is you got to see if you can get Sam Landry back, right? The last we saw of her, she was going into the portal. That was kind of methodical of her. I don't know if it was on. Let me see if she put it on Twitter. She did, but that was June 27th. So it's been already about a week. Who's Justin McLeod, associate editor for D1 softball? Let's see if he's got any bit more. He's got a lot here. Oh, we did have, how about this one? This is not a good look. Lacey Prejean resigned from Northwestern State, and she went there with a lot of fanfare, and it did not work out. There's claims of, harassment. New coach did not get along with the players, at least one, and who was who complained about it in May, and now Coach Prejean stepped down. It's not a very good look in your first year as a head coach, and obviously you're trying to set the culture and everything like that. I'm not sure how fine the line is between pushing the players to being a hard ass and being too soft, and where does are the players too soft? I have no idea, right? So, if you're trying to change things around, I guess we could look quickly at Northwestern State did not have a good year. Northwestern State softball, like what is their normal year, right? I don't know. Either way, Lacey Prejean, steps down after one season. That's not good. So they were not good this year. 19-31, right? The year before they were about 500, 25-27. Well, they were 29-22 a couple years ago, so that's a winning record. They were 10-8 in the conference. 24-22 before that. We'll skip the COVID year. 19, 30-27. So they have a nice little program, and I think they're about a 500 club, and they were way under 500 this year. So, they had not a great year in 17, but I don't know the history of the school. So they were on a 500 club, and they were below 500 this year. So we'll see if anything more comes out. Wishing Coach Prejean all the best. Hopefully, we'll just leave it at that. Hopefully, it all works out for everybody. Waiting for the next shoe to drop with the Pelicans. I'm not sure if we got any major deals yesterday, right? We're talking about Lauri Markkanen, who's a nice player, but as Schmidt Dua reports, kind of the same as Ingram. And you could just re-sign Brandon Ingram and get the same player without giving up assets. So I guess that's my concern. It's not like Brandon Ingram is a bad player, right? He's a very good player. And now maybe it is better with Murray there, right? Whereas, Murray can set everything up with Zion, with CJ, with a Brandon Ingram. Although you still need a center. You still, maybe get the assets and go get Walker Kessler. Although I still want Jonas. He signed with the Wizards. He's a gamer, played every game. Started every game, but then wouldn't play in the fourth because, really didn't like him, I guess. But no, I did not see too much movement yesterday. I guess the big news was Joe Ingles is a nice, part for Minnesota. Alabama is hiring Detroit Pistons Brian Adams as an assistant coach. He's gone through some assistant coaches who've gotten some big jobs. The big news was the Lakers have hired Nate McMillan and Scotty Brooks. I mean, they got a bunch of experience, right? Nate McMillan, ton of experience. Scotty Brooks, a ton of experience. That's a pretty solid hire by the Lakers and JJ Redick. Okay, I mean, obviously JJ doesn't have any problem giving his opinion, and you got to believe those two guys will not have a problem giving their opinion and how they handle that, making plays, and again at that level. Well, the AC shut off. At that level, it really is just trying to get the players to buy in, whatever that is, and play hard, right? Are you going to be able to draw up some plays and see how it works? Also at that level, especially with LeBron on the team and AD on the team, and now Bronny, they can help design the plays. I'm not sure if that's the biggest of all thing, right? I mean, either LeBron takes it to the hoop, LeBron, pulls up, try to get it to AD, he kicks it to somebody. I mean, this is not exactly brain surgeries, right? You got Reeves, you got, all those guys. But the idea is to get people to buy in and play hard. That's really the deal when it comes to that level, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not sure. I mean, I think there are some coaches better than others, but again, they can only do so much. They can only do so much. So we'll see what happens with the Pelicans. I don't think because it's the 4th of July and a day off, that means, you might be able to actually get something done if someone is, quote, out of the office. LeBron did sign a $104 million contract, but the second year is a player option. Kendrick Perkins think this may be the last year of LeBron. And it very well may be. They did say, I heard also on the radio that his priorities are not winning. His priority is playing with his son and being in LA. And again, I don't have a problem with that, right? My issue with players, taking the bag, which I don't have that problem, is that's what it's about, right? You can't tell me you're signing with one of the worst teams in the league, and this is just in general, not specific to anything, and tell me you're trying to win a championship. Yeah. Why did you sign with this team? Well, they paid the most, right? Compared to a Klay, right? Klay Thompson can say that. Klay Thompson can say, why did you sign with the Mavericks? Well, they were just in the finals. They were offering me good money. I left money on the table, which was basically an extra year. I don't know if they average per season with that much. I guess the Lakers were going to pay him more. But other teams were willing to go 4 years for Klay. And he's like, nope, I'm going to take 3 with the Mavericks because I'm trying to win a championship. So that's different when you're taking less to go somewhere, either in money or in years. Now, that's not bad. Now you got a third option offensively. We'll see how that works out. But I guess, was it Calvin Ridley with the Jaguars? Someone was going with the Jaguars. I don't think it was Calvin Ridley. Another wide receiver. It was the Cardinals wide receiver. And he took all the money in the world, but he's going to one of the worst franchises. Now they're a playoff contender because they won one playoff game. But I don't have that problem, right? And at the same time, you get Bronny out there. He's got signed a 4-year, $8 million deal, right? And JJ Redick says he deserves it based on his play. I guess you have to say it, but come on. Let's, it is what it is, right? Did anyone, this is under the radar. This is on my thing because the people I follow, right? This is just as much nepotism as anything else. The Marshall head tennis coach hired his kid. His kid just graduated from Kentucky, played SEC tennis, and now is on the Marshall coaching staff. That's the same thing as Bronny, right? When right? I got to believe there's somebody just as much or more qualified than his son. But we're going to bring the son in. I mean, how much could you be making as the Marshall assistant head? As the Marshall assistant tennis coach, right? You're lucky if you're making. And you're lucky if you're making a living, right? I mean, can you even look that up? Marshall. I don't even know if it's going to come up. Marshall tennis coach salary, right? I mean, how much could that possibly be? The average salary is $101,000. Oh, for assistant coaches? No. Let me see here. It's not going to be. There's no way we're going to. No. All this is on regular. Oh, here we go. 5-year contract approved for coach of Marshall's soccer team. National championship soccer team. That was in 21. How much could that possibly be? Wow. That's $375,000. That's not a little bit of money. Annual compensation more than $375,000. I'm so excited and pleased that Chris Grassi will continue to lead this. This was 3 years ago. Or no, 4 years ago? Different dates. 20 or 21. All right. I mean, he wins a national championship. He got bumped up. School officials say Grassi had 2 years left on his original contract that was replaced with his new deal. Under his old contract, he was being paid $122,000 a year. So he got a huge bump. I went from 122 to 375. That's a big difference. But that's a soccer coach, and he won a national championship. Who knew? That's a lot of money. I did not know that. All right. Got to go for a run. Not bad. My feet are killing me. Obviously, nothing's open today. Going to take the niece to the airport. And then I think we're laying low. We got a dinner. A dinner tonight. We found, I don't have it here. This would be great if they accept it. So we're having a dinner at the Hotel Syracuse. This hotel's been around forever, closed, redone. My mother and father got married there, and I think my aunt and uncle got married there. We found in my father's stuff that my brothers and I cleaned out last night. We found a $50 gift certificate to the Hotel Syracuse, made out to, wait for it, my father's parents. It would have been his father and stepmom. His mother died when he was very young. And so I think Rose would be his stepmother and raised him, right? That's a $50 gift certificate to the Hotel Syracuse. There's no chance. I mean, this thing is, well, I presume they got a $50 gift certificate because they paid for a wedding. So 34. This thing is 60 years old. They're married in August of 66. Is there a chance that we could? Oh, man. There's a bar in the hotel. I don't know if they accept the gift certificate. That'd be great. Well, here's the. It doesn't say expiration date. There's no expiration. Need to be used 1 year. Nope. So that's funny. I mean, again, we found some great stuff. I did find. Oh no, won't comment on that. But my one niece was really impressed. It was like a history lesson, right? With Kennedy shot, the killer shot, man walks on the moon, right? Nixon expected to resign. Nixon resigns. It was pretty good. One was actually my grandfather. He was in Cleveland because he wrote on it. I was in Cleveland for the WPAA event. Phil Suskind, and he wrote it, and he came back with it. Pretty neat. Saved some pictures. I got his discharge papers. So we'll have to figure out what to do. But we made one big box into like two smaller boxes. We found his wedding pictures. It's pretty cool. So, and we threw out some stuff. Like we found my father's birth certificate. My mother's college grades were in there. I don't even know where my college grades are. I'm not sure my mother knew where her grades were, but we've been cleaning that up. It's been a great week at home. And then going home is going to be a tough. I'm going to get in Saturday at noon. And again, I'm not packing all that much. But I'll start going to get banana boxes. Those are the best things. I can pack books and CDs. I'm going to let the movers pack everything else. I could probably throw some stuff out. It's probably what I need to do. And I'll have Saturday's half a day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There's that 1037 The Game birthday party I'm going to crash. And then probably leave Thursday morning, go to Louisville, look for a place to live, put my bourbon somewhere, and then drive back and then have the movers. I mean, if I find a place to live, if I drive up there Thursday, Friday, maybe I find a place to live Saturday and I can drive back on Monday. Because the idea is that if I drive up there I could get there Thursday if I push it, if I leave early. If I get there on Thursday, I'm there Friday and Saturday. Maybe I find a place to live, put a deposit down, come back on Sunday, and I'm back on Monday, and the movers show up Thursday, and we're all good to go. Otherwise, I may not be back until Wednesday. Movers show up Thursday. I probably won't leave. I'll see if I can get a hotel room or stay with a friend on Friday or Thursday night. Leave Friday, get there Saturday. Crash at the Bros until my stuff arrives and I can move in and go to work Monday. No, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight, a little bit tight. They wanted me to start the 15th, but starting on the 22nd. So, and we'll talk more about that. If you didn't hear earlier, going to Jim Beam. Going to go work for Jim Beam of all places. So, really looking forward to it. They're having a big 90th birthday celebration in August. So, that's pretty cool. Right, I'm walking into something that's going to be pretty neat right off the bat. So we'll see if we can mix. The idea is to mix all of this, the bourbon, the sports, maybe the podcasting. All right. And to me, it doesn't look like they do a whole lot of social media. I'm sure there's some things you can't do on social media as a distilling company, but maybe we get a podcast going, right? And I get the, not only would it be Jim Beam, but we probably get some other people on there, right? Jim Beam's owned by Suntory, so there's plenty of other distilleries that you could get on there, right? So who knows? We'll see where it goes. Not going to push too hard, too fast. I got a lot to learn about the history of Jim Beam and kind of have an idea of how this is all made, but I would presume it's going to take me a good month, 2 months to get the tours down to where I can do it on my own. So looking forward to it, but it is going to be a rather quick move when I get back to Lafayette and pack up again. I will pack up and I got to bring clothes with me. So pack up the CDs, books, stuff that I probably throw away and donate. The bourbon I'm keeping. But then I have some stereo equipment that I can put in boxes. I have my stereo equipment that my father bought me. I got a CD player and a receiver. I think the receiver's techniques and the CD player, the receiver's techniques and the CD player is JVC. And I like that better than the multi-use one. You can program it easier. It's only one CD, I get it, but I like that better than the multi one I got. And I fixed the JVC. Well, I fixed the Techniques thing. I had that in 98. Put a new fan in, probably $50. This thing is 22, almost 50 years old. 22, got it in 88. Oh no, so that's 12. That's 12 years, 36 years old. Pretty good, 36 and a half years old. So then I pack up my speakers and stuff like that. But otherwise, the movers come in. Last time it was 9 to 2, maybe 9 to 1:30. There's a little break in there. We'll see how long it takes. It's a more thorough job than you think. And the guys I had last time were great. Now, that was one move, one day. We went from Mobile to Lafayette. This one's obviously going to take a couple of days. I mean, if they want to show up on a Sunday, be happy to move into my apartment, that day. I doubt that's what's going to happen, though. But we'll see. Maybe they do. I got a feeling they're closed on Tuesday. I can't imagine I'm getting a day off my second day there. But, got to be there when they move. Obviously, that takes a lot less time. And you can do the unpacking later on. So I'm not worried about that. All right. I'm going to see. I don't know if I can go for a run. Maybe I'll just skip the run. My feet hurt. And just take my niece to the airport when she wants to go. So we're going to hop in the shower. 47 people on July 4th. That's outstanding. Thanks so much. We will have a Locked On Sunbelt episode. We'll do Arkansas State. Can they live up to the hype? There's a lot expected. Butch Jones has had really good classes his first few years. He's got the young quarterback coming back. He had a really good freshman year, 17-7. I know he had a bad game against South Alabama. Not a great bowl game, but if you're starting out your career going 17-7, touchdowns, interceptions, and like a 58%, completion percentage. We've gone over this with his stats. You got to get more consistent. Not consistently great. You just got to be more consistent. Like 55%, and then he's doing 75%, and then doing 65%, back down to 55%. So if he can be more consistent in his games, Arkansas State could absolutely be a threat. So we'll do that one today. Probably do another one for Friday. I got to do 17 this month. So I only did 12 last month, but that was what I was supposed to do. They kind of changed it. Like we're supposed to have July used to be a minimum month. It used to be out of season, but then they saw all of the media days is coming up, right? SEC media days coming up. All the media days are coming up. SEC media days, ACC media days, the 2 days for the Sun Belt, which I will be in Jim Beam. So we'll have to figure out on how to see if I can start getting media next week to join me, kind of previewing the Sun Belt media days. See if I can get my guy Rocky on. He'll come on with me. Rocky Boyman will be down there covering with Matt Stewart. And then all of the writers who will come in there and see where we are, kind of a preview of the Sun Belt Media Days as we're continuing to do the preview of the previews. So we'll do that. All right. Thanks for hopping on. Really appreciate it. Have a safe 4th of July. Fireworks, drinking. Everyone be safe. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow morning.